got 3 CDs, right? For $20. And I'm walking away, and the first thing I'm thinking of is like, damn, do I even have a fucking CD player to put?
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And
nobody has any CDs anymore.
And then the second thought that popped in my head was like, man, I bet you they scam me and there's nothing. There's just blank CDs that they buy.
Yeah, Sharpie. Right. It's like, yeah, my next big hit.
So I ended up bringing them back home and
have you played them yet?
Funny enough, yeah. Well, funny enough, I never. It didn't even dawn on me. But the car that I drove here in has a CD player in it still. Yeah. So I have a CD player. Like my lady has one of those little boom boxes or whatever. Yeah. So that's the first thing I went and I found that and I connected everything and it didn't work. So I went and I took him and I walked out to the car and I played with the car.
You're like, I did get.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. See, you know exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. And then, but I took him out to the car and I played him, and actually, one of the CDs was pretty damn good, man. Damn, it's pretty damn good.
See, that's man. I've seen these videos on Instagram of this dude that's walking around with his piano.
Yeah, and then he's making the beat on the spot. Yeah, and then someone comes and freestyles. Yeah, I've seen that.
That's the beauty of like social media, because like now anybody just. They might have like a good thing or like a good song. That's how it's like our generation's ticket to become famous or something. Even if you have just one song,
it's
or a bit.
Right. It's nice because it makes it easier for people to get their stuff out there, but then it also makes you have to sift through a lot of garbage to get to. I mean, that's just the way I've always kind of seen it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right. But there is a lot of. I mean, people come up through that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are getting on that. Not to go back to Anthony or anything, but
I'm trying to think of like some of the comics from here.
Yeah, well, Anthony was on one of the big viral shows.
Was he really?
He sang a Prince song. He sang Purple Rain.
Oh, damn, man, that dude's like super talented.
He is.
Fucking everything.
Yeah,
what the fuck is?
He is, man.
And then he's actually out. I think he's on tour right now, right? With Javi and Paul.
Yeah, well, I know they recently had some shows out in East Texas or something like that. But
something like that. No, that's cool. And that's what I'm saying. Like that, I know all these guys, and there's a lot of these newer guys. Like I think Paul is one of like the newcomers because I know like Anthony and all these other guys, and even Javi. Like I was there. I kind of stepped out whenever Javi was kind of coming in, and I met him a couple times. And the few like shows and mics that I've been to, like he's around, and he's one of these guys that he's become super popular, like especially from El Paso. So it's one of those things that I really think it's good, and then a lot of music. But like I think you're right. Like there's a lot of garbage that you kind of have to go through, but then also there's a lot of talented people that you would have never heard of.
Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't be given a chance by the industry otherwise, right? They had to kind of have like a grassroots sort of thing happen for them, and then they pop up. I mean, I think like Matt Rife, that happened for him. Oh shoot, I'm sorry about that.
That's right.
You're gonna have a little. But yeah, I think Matt Rife came up, getting a lot of popularity through YouTube and his videos on there and stuff like that.
Yeah, see, and like us also, like not to get too sideways, I guess, but people now need stuff like that. We kind of need to be. I mean, we need distractions, but everything's so like quick. It's just like. You come up and then you shine and then that's it. Fucking next one. But I do think that everybody kind of needs like, everybody needs a laugh. Everybody needs to just relax and be like, hey man, like things are pretty rough, but they're always pretty rough. Like I'm telling you, like I hang out with a lot of old people and they tell me, yeah man, like this country or the world, it's been through like a lot of downs, ups and downs. And I think, especially this younger generation, like some of my younger cousins and like friends and stuff like that, a lot of them are like super depressed, and it's one of those things where it takes talking to the older people. It's like, no man, like it's always been like shit. Like there's always been bad things, but then that's why we have to continue to do it, like to try to be positive. And I think that's where. Just doing comedy comes in, and then a lot of music because people find and then like there's people out a lot. Like I've never been one to go out and like.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, if I'm not performing, if I'm not entertaining, I don't go out.
Because it's weird, right? Like that's one of those things. Like it feels weird to just be out. To me, it's like, well, what am I doing? Like I could sit and drink at home, right? Yeah. And then that's kind of the problem. Like, no, man, like don't drink by yourself. Like, go out and be social. And I think that's what's missing. Like everybody's kind of so into their phones. Yeah. That's what we need. It's like, no man, go out and meet people. A lot of people, like you said, a lot of shitty art. It's like you're gonna meet a lot of duds, but every once in a while, it's like, hey man, like you kick it off with somebody and be like, hey, let's hang out.
Well, it's kind of it's the same thing with like the news. I look at it, right, where people are like, oh, look at all this crazy stuff that's happening. I was like, you know what? It's not that things are that much crazier than they used to be. It's just that back then people didn't hear about a earthquake or a tsunami that happened in Japan or
like
something.
Every day.
Right, yeah. And now we have that instant information just like that, boom. Yeah. So it kind of seems like things are crazier, but I'm just like, it's not all that bad. Yeah. I've had these conversations with my mom where she's just like, oh, the world, it's just, I'm like, I know it seems that way, but it's not the case, man. I mean, it's always been a crazy place, man.
Well, I was telling one of my friends the other day, one of these older guys, it's so funny, it's like, it feels bad saying some of these older guys, but man, the way I see it, I like the older generations because they've been through so much, and a lot of the younger people were so into our phones. A lot of my younger like cousins and stuff, like I guess every generation's done that where we dismiss the older generations, and that's kind of where I'm finding out like, no man, like you have to retain some of this, like the stories, the ideas that we have. Like I remember. Like our family, when I was younger, it seemed like everybody was always, hey, let me go to my aunt's house, or let's go to your cousin's house, and we were always kind of hanging out. Yeah. And now it just kind of seems like everybody's kind of like, doing their own thing. I'll be by myself with my wife and my kids, and that's it. So it's one of those things that kind of seems just a little bit different now.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. That is something that I know has changed quite a bit because, when I was a kid. The whole family always hung out at my grandma's house.
Yeah, me too. Like I remember, like in Juarez, since we have a lot of family over there, we would go to the Chem Zone, then just I remember, like playing outside, like just not even like soccer or there was this weird game where it was like dodgeball, but it was like everybody was on one side. It was weird, but it's one of those things that I remember. Like I don't know if it's because I was a kid, so when you're a kid, everything's awesome. Right. It's like fucking toys and TV, everything's cool. But I don't know if it's everybody, because you also get involved with your own family. You kind of want to be with your girl. You want to be with your kids, and it's like nah man. Like I'm working a lot, so my time off, I'm gonna spend it like with just a couple people. But no, like I'm glad you're doing comedy and everything still. That.
Well, I haven't
be up for your show.
I haven't got right. Thank you. I appreciate you mentioning that.
Because last time I saw you, that you were doing a show. You were walking around Vegas. You were walking around like the Caesar's Palace or something, and you were doing it live.
I was flipping off the Trump Tower.
Yeah, I mean, I was just watching a show yesterday where it's like if you're gonna be performing at a hotel, dude, just don't trash the owner. But I mean, if you're not performing there, it's just talking shit too. You're allowed to,
Well, so interesting enough, you bring that up because I have that show on the 27th, right? And
you're not gonna go badmouth.
Well, I mean, but they give you a stuff that you can and can't talk about.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
And one of them is kind of obvious, right? I mean, it's a casino owned by a Native American tribe, right? A reservation, right? Yeah. So they say you're not supposed to go in there making fun of Native Americans, which is obvious. No.
I mean, that's my people. I guess.
But you're Native American. You might be able to go there and get away with it if you.
Of course.
Yeah, but not someone like me. I'm not going to go and make jokes like that and ever expect to go back again. Right? That's true. But so that's one, and then you can't say Into the Mountain Gods is in Ruidoso because technically it's in Mescalero.
Right.
So if you accidentally say Into the Mountain Gods and refer to it being in Ruidoso, they probably won't ask you to go back and perform.
Okay. Well, we can cut that out, I guess.
Yeah. So
bleep it.
So as a host, you have to remember not to say that. That's
right. Are you hosting or are you doing?
No, I'm hosting. I'm hosting. I'm hosting the show.
Are you having other comics from here?
I don't know if you remember. He's not from here, but he travels around. He's come through here quite a bit. His name's Neil Rubenstein.
So no, I don't think so.
No. So I believe he's going to be featuring
Yeah.
And then he told me that it was either going to be Tommy Black or some other dude, something Michaels, that's going to be headlining.
Okay.
I wasn't told anything about who else is performing.
This is the 27th?
The 27th, next Thursday. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
That way we could, at least make it clear. It's like, hey, don't miss the show.
Right.
And they have a lot of good shows up there, too.
They do.
Like,
they do.
I think, I don't know if it's already here or if it was last year, but I know they had I think it was Dwight Yoakam, and then I think Neil Young.
Yeah.
Is that right? Like, fuck, man. Like, and it's just what, an hour or so?
No, it's closer to 2 hours.
A couple hours from here. Yeah. So it's a good place. I like it. Like I stayed at a little camping place up there.
Was it Twin Spruce by any chance? My buddy and I stayed at that.
No idea. Yeah. No, it was like Midtown something maybe.
Okay.
I don't know, but they have these little like little tents and then a couple little cottages and stuff, and then you could also bring your RV.
Yeah, that's the kind of spot we go.
But it was kind of cool because it was right next to that main little road where all the little shops are.
Oh,
and it's cool. Like it's cool to just hang out, and then they have one of the places that a lot of comics here go is that brewery, Downshift.
Okay, yeah.
So it's kind of cool that there's a place where you can go out and. Like you could have a drink and then walk. I mean, it's walking distance, so you could be drunk just walking from bar to bar,
right?
And then just walk back to your RV or where you're staying the night. And I actually went to a restaurant down there, like a pretty good steak restaurant.
Okay.
And then I had a couple of drinks and then just walked back, and it was in the middle of the winter. It was beautiful. Like just driving up there. I'm assuming it might be dangerous, probably wildlife or whatever. But as long as you're careful, I mean,
right.
It's not
you
bad.
You were up there on the bike?
No, I took the car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a nice ride because I took it. I guess it's a scenic route. And then,
it adds like another 2 hours onto your.
I don't remember, but it was where like there's like this dam. I don't know. I haven't been up there a lot, but yeah, one of the things is like that would be a good bike trip, like just up there.
Yeah, my buddy Jericho, who plays with a band called Kikimora, him and I over the years we've gone up there several times on our motorcycles and gone because like twice a year in Drilloso they have a motorcycle rally, Aspencade and Aspen Cash. Okay. One of them happens like in September. Yeah. And then the other one happens 6 months after that, whatever month that is.
I know the whole area is nice. I've also been camping in Cloudcroft.
Oh yeah.
There's a little.
I used to we used to camp there when I was a kid.
The one thing that I've missed is the little lake, I guess, Silver Lake. I don't know what it's called, but the lake that's a little past Cloudcroft. I haven't been there. I don't know why, but I always either don't plan it correctly or I always forget. But I had some family members that went out there. It's like, yeah, man, it's beautiful. Like you just park right next to the lake and just hang out. But yeah, I like the whole area, and it's cool that a lot of comics from here have hosting or shows up there pretty regularly, and it's kind of nice because it's a change of scenery.
So yeah, well you heard me say Tommy Black, right?
Yeah.
So he's Las Cruces, but he has the club here in El Paso.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tommy Black is the guy that owns Midtown Comedy Club downtown.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So he might be headlining, and he's been out to another show that I did with Josh Edelman and one of his buddies out in Las Cruces a while back.
So do you think you're one of like the older guys in comedy, or are you still still
like
relevant?
Age-wise or the
no like because I'm telling you, like
I'm definitely one of the older guys.
Yeah, especially just like some of these young kids, I guess. Because but I'm saying like, you're kind of like the veterans, I guess, from El Paso. Because I don't know when you started or when.
I mean, I think I'm kind of pushing that. I'm in my 6th year.
Right. Doing comedy.
Right. So like if you think about it, that's right at the very beginning.
Oh, that's true.
That's right before the pandemic hit.
And then before that, I know you mentioned that's what I was going to ask you. Like you had a band.
Yeah.
And did you do that here too?
In El Paso, yeah, I played in a couple bands here in El Paso, but the first band I ever played in was out in San Antonio. Okay. But that was many years ago when I was a kid. I mean, I was like 22, 23 years old at that time. And then I played with a band out in Tucson, Arizona. And that's the band that I probably played with the longest and was probably the most successful band that I played with. And they're called the Fuel Project.
Fuel?
The Fuel Project. Yeah, Fewel. Like the street downtown in Sunset. Fuel. Fewel. Okay. And then Project, and it was changed from Prospect because there's another street down there called.
Is
Prospect.
your music out like where we can find it? Because I've been very curious. Just because from what I've known you and all that stuff, it's like I'm very curious because I have like an idea of what a band that I would see you in sounds like, but I don't think I've ever heard it. I don't think you ever shared any of your music.
I mean, you would have to be about maybe 3 times cooler than you are for me to
for you to be able to be invited to these underground shows.
I was in a band before, like putting it online was kind of the thing to do.
You had your CDs. You were selling them.
We were on CDs and stuff. Yeah,
$20.
That's right. But no, back then it was like.
Hey man, buy my CD.
Right. SoundCloud, like a lot of our music. Ralph. Okay, so you might know. I don't know if you know Ralph Arellano. All right, he goes by.
Are these guys still around?
Ralph still plays.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Ralph, we could. Yeah, these guys out in the open.
We could hang out with him. We could go to one of his shows and stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
He plays with a band right now called Get the Honey. Okay. He was the lead vocalist of a band called Mexicans at Night.
And from here, like they're all here.
All those bands are from El Paso.
I think I've heard Mexicans at Night.
Yeah. So Rafa Pistola is what he goes by. Okay. I call him Fafis. That's my nickname for him.
Okay.
And some people have caught on and call him Fafis and all, but I started that.
It's your term of endearment.
Right. And him and I started. We played in the Fuel Project out in Tucson together. Right.
Nice.
And in that band, it was originally a 6-member band when the band first got together. It was myself as a lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist.
Yeah.
My brother played bass. We had Steve Vitella on the drums.
Okay.
We had a guy named Andy Garcia who played guitar. Then we had my buddy Jericho Cagle, who's a bass player in Kikimora, who also played bass for us. And then and then
I'm sorry, I want to hear some of this music.
So
I can drag me through it and stuff, and then we'll link it, and then we'll throw some people
for sure. Yeah, I can bring you like I just gotta look through a little stack of CDs. You think I'm joking, but because
I don't know if we started recording before we were talking trash about CDs.
Right.
I don't know if you saw all the records that we have.
I didn't notice. No, I gotta check that out.
We have I'll show it right now. Right. We have just like 1,000 records.
Nice.
And I still have like one of those old console.
Yeah. I have one at my mom's house. Yeah.
And because I have a couple records, like I guess the biggest record that I bought, and it was just randomly walking around. Like I like going to the flea markets.
Yeah.
Like the Ascarate,
Bronco,
and stuff like that. And a lot of these guys will have old records. And I don't know if it was in one of those that I found the Thriller. The original, like with the opens up and everything,
in decent condition and everything.
It's I'll show it to you right now.
Okay.
But it's to me, I think it's just the fact that it's there. I think it's in decent condition, but it's not perfect. But I still have all that kind of stuff. Like I even have the old camera. Like I was using that camera.
That's cool. Yeah.
Within a year, just because I think it's cool to just preserve a lot of that stuff.
For sure.
And it even has a cassette. Like little cassette decks and everything. So that's what I'm telling you. Like I don't know if we were recording before we started talking shit about CDs. Because now, like you were telling me, like everything's just online now.
Right.
Everybody's like goes online and like posts all their stuff. I mean, this is gonna go fucking online too.
Yeah, we had bought a soundboard. It was one of the newer ones at the time that had it was digital and you could record into it and stuff like that. And we had a lot of our stuff recorded onto that deal. And then the drummer, Steve-O, he just got drunk one day and it was over at his house and he deleted everything off of that thing. And the whole band was so pissed off at him for that. But we actually, with that band, not with Steve-O, we had a different drummer. At that time when we brought the band from Tucson to El Paso, we recorded at a recording studio off of Donovan that was called Penny Lane at the time. It was run by this dude. I can't remember his last name, but his first name was Manny. And we recorded our first album there at that.
Penny what?
It was called Penny Lane, like the Beatles.
Right. Yeah. Raul likes a lot of the Beatles.
Yeah.
Like he was showing me this song, the rooftop version.
Oh yeah.
Where he sings like this one line in German or French, and I was like, hey, what the hell is he saying? Because it's one of those things where I guess it's a special. You're familiar with the song, right?
Oh yeah.
Don't Let Me Down, and since he's a big fan, like they have good music. I mean, obviously they were like super popular. But it threw me off because I was kind of listening, and it's a cool video, like just the aesthetic of it and everything. But he has that one line where whatever he's singing, he says it in another language. I think it's French probably. And I told him, it's like, hey man, what the hell is this? Like, he's just talking gibberish, like jubly, blue, blue. It's like, and he's just laughing. He's like, oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. And we had somebody else here that they're like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just a song. And I played it, and then we were both looking at each other like, yeah, what the hell was that? Was he just talking just like gibberish?
Uh-huh.
But that's why it's cool to listen to old school music, or even music that like was popular, like a couple decades. Everything moves so fast now.
Right.
And that's what I'm telling you. Like, I mean, if you got some of those CDs, I don't know, throw a couple $20.
Yeah.
So I can play them. But it's also good if you put them out somewhere, because it's good. Like, there's this band, and I don't know if I'm infringing it, like I'm stepping in, but there was this one band that I heard one song, and like the KLAQ plays local band music every once in a while, and this was probably like 7 or 8 years ago, probably even longer.
Oh, wow.
And they played a song by a band called Black Coyote. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No, I can't.
Black Coyote or Coyote Black. And the song is called like of strippers and cowboys, or of strippers and prostitutes, or something like that. And it's just like blues, like mellow blues, just heavy guitar, like distorted, and it's real mellow. And it's one of those bands where it's like, man, like every band goes through changes, and then bands split up and things like that, and I'm sure you're super familiar with that. But that song, I was like, man, I wish this band like would have made a lot of more music like that, because it was right up my alley.
Yeah. Like, well, do you know who Rick V is?
Rick V.
Yeah.
No, it sounds familiar.
Yeah. Okay. So do you know Diego, the kid that? So you went to the Bro Show that Sharita put on over at Tanya's Gridiron a few years back?
Oh. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So the kid that hosted Diego.
Okay.
Okay, it's his dad. Rick V is his dad.
No, I don't think I know him.
And Rick V was a huge fan of the Field Project.
Oh, really?
And he
always tells you, hey man, get the band back together.
Well, see, here's the thing: is that he came up to me one day. This is like about a year ago, maybe, and I'm around there, give or take. He came up to me, he's like, "Hey man," so I didn't know you were in the Field Project, and I'm just like, I just started laughing. I'm like, "Yeah, man."
So it's coming back.
I was one of the original members.
You're there with like the long hair and everything.
I said I was one of the original members. No, but see, no, the thing is that he knew of the Field Project after my brother and I had already left the band.
Oh, okay.
Right, so that's why he was like what? When Ralph told him, oh yeah, that dude's an original member of the Field Project, and Rick was like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah. So it was kind of a little thing, a little funny joke between us, but yeah, I told him, I said, I played with them before I was ever even a real musician. And, it's I most everything I learned from those guys in that band.
Right, yeah. And do you play any instruments? Like, you say you would play rhythm guitar for Field?
Yeah.
But you don't play like, I don't know, piano or whatever?
A
couple things on there?
As a kid, that was one of the first instruments I ever learned how to play in school. I had in my 4th grade, my piano teacher, her name was Miss Thompson. So I'm familiar with it, but I never.
Like a couple of my cousins right now play music, and they're real young. And the other day I was talking to one of them, and I heard them playing the flute, and I was like, man, it's so, like, for me, my parents always told me they never really encouraged it, but to my cousin, I think she was super encouraged since she was a young kid, because it's so cool to be able to read music like right off the bat. Because I could, my thing was choir too. Like we were pretty good doing choir. And it was okay, but I can't tell you like right off the bat. After sight reading, it was okay, but since I haven't practiced in so long anything, it's not one of those things. And I could never figure out on the piano. Like maybe figure it out, but just seeing a lot of like younger people.
Yeah, you'd figure it out. They're just patterns, man.
Yeah, and that's what I've been learning. Because I'm telling you, like, I started practicing recently, and it's so valuable, like, to have been able to learn from a young age, and then now, if you already had that, and you just bust it out like at a party, it's like, damn, dude, like that's cool. So I think it's really important for. I mean, I guess any art, even painting or whatever. But I'm super jealous of people that are good at reading music with any instrument. So the fact that you're, if you get a song and you can, hey, play the song, you just bust it out. To me, it's like a superpower.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've definitely played with musicians that can do that. I don't think I can. I mean, I can play a lot of songs. Don't get me wrong, but
you think you might still do some sort of band thing, or right now it's not like in the cards anymore?
No, I mean, I would definitely do it for fun,
right?
But it's not the type of thing that I would put the same kind of energy that I do in comedy.
Right, like you wouldn't depend on it to like, hey, I'm gonna try to make some money.
Right, like I mean, I'll tell you this. I don't know if things have changed a whole lot now in the music scene, but when I was coming up in the music scene, I've never played in a cover band.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it was all like original.
It was all
stuff.
original music.
Man,
we
cool.
all wrote our own stuff, and we would from time to time at our shows we would throw out cover songs, right? But we never got together and said, hey, we're going to practice this song. It would just happen like, hey, man, do you remember, Santaria from Sublime? Oh, yeah, I know it.
Right.
Cool. Then we throw it out, yeah. Or some Tom Petty song or whatever, just something random, whatever.
Is that what a jam band is? Or is that just a cover band?
That's just a cover band. I mean, I guess that could be a jam. A jam band is just someone that does it. A band that would just like they don't set up like regular shows or anything. They'll hang out at a garage, or they'll go to a bar that has a stage that allows them to jam out for free there. Or whatever. Yeah, that's a jam band, right?
Okay.
But a cover band is a band that, I mean, they'll book shows and they'll go out and they get paid. And this is what I was telling you, is like back then, if you played in a cover band, you could book a 2.5 or 3 hour show and get paid like $600 and divvy that up between 3 or 4 people in a band, right? That's not bad for 2.5 hours, 3 hours worth of work. Right?
Plus, it's something you enjoy. Right. Like anything. I mean, even comedy. I'm telling you, like whenever I went up yesterday, just since I hadn't been up in a while, you get this rush.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that's exciting. It's exciting to you dress up, you have your instrument, and then you have fun with your buddies. Right. Or I mean, I guess in comedy, you just have up there, before the show and after the show, you're hanging out with all the other comics and just bullshitting. But it's kind of cool because I mean, you're making money out of something fun essentially. Right. That's what everybody wants to do.
Yeah. But if you were an original band back then, you were lucky if they offered you $75 for a whole show.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's hard.
Yeah, it was really rough.
So make money when you can. Man.
Yeah, I mean we would play at Arizona.
Sell those CDs, man.
Yeah, we would drive from El Paso to Arizona to do shows just because out there in Arizona we got pretty well known. We would do shows. Yeah, Tucson. And we did shows pretty much when we did shows anywhere in Arizona, the places were packed.
Ah, man, that's cool. But and then Tucson is not even that far from here either. What is it?
No, it's 4 hours, 4.5 hours. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely jam out and do shows and have fun like that. I mean, from time to time, I'll go to Richie's mic and I'll take my guitar and I'll do 3 or 4 songs.
I've been wanting to go to. I met Richie because we were with Power at the Pass because that's where I was doing shows when I was doing like a lot of theater for a while. I got really into it, and that's why I want to get back into because it's like. It's cool to like you said, like focus on your job and everything, but it's one of those things where like, man, it kind of feeds your soul, and like that's really kind of what matters. It's like do something that makes you happy also. Like maybe you're not making a lot of money. Oh shit, like you hear a lot of stories of people that are like, yeah, I left my job at a corporate thing or at an office, like a good stable job, and now like I knit hats for cats and shit, and it's like, but I'm so fulfilled. And it's like, yeah, man, like, if you can find something that like, you're passionate about, like, focus on it and do it. And that's kind of what I think of, like, yeah, we're going to go to, I'm telling you yesterday, like, it went all right. but it was cool to just be in it and just everybody kind of relax and just bullshit.
Who was your favorite one you saw get up last night? For whatever reason, doesn't mean that they were good or anything. I mean, you enjoyed laughing at them failing or whatever.
I think the one that I really got a kick out of was Ozzy.
Yeah,
Ozzy Moon. Yeah, he's because also he was the first one, and then we started kind of late too. But he did what you have to do at an open mic. It's like, hey man, try new things, like just make fun of stuff, and I'm telling you, like it's one of those things where, if anything, we need. You know, he was talking to a couple of the people, a couple of the girls, and just making fun, and like comics, they're not trying to hit on anybody because you're up there just sweating your ass off and you're nervous and shit. So whenever you're talking to like the crowd, if it's like this like hot chick or like this real cool dude and stuff, you're not trying to be like, hey, like I'm cool with you. It's like, no man, like I'm struggling up here. Like I'm gonna try to like look, I'm funny, And he just had he just had a lot of that, and he tried a couple things. Like he had a lot of good things, and then if he had things that weren't hitting, he'd play it off. He's like yeah, like whatever. Like I'm trying stuff. Like you don't need to laugh.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed everybody. Everybody was you get ups and downs, and that's where you get an open mic. Right. You get like loud people, quiet people, and like shy, weird people.
Yeah, for sure.
I was one of the weird ones, I guess.
No, see, I think it's funny. I like that you would bring. You don't know about the history between Ozzy and I, huh?
I don't. I'm telling you, that's the thing. That's a cool thing about doing the podcast. It's like I come from myself. I'm pretty dysfunctional in my family, but then you find out every family is kind of dysfunctional. So whenever I hang out at the mics and then you see somebody arguing, it's like, yeah, that's home. It reminds me of like I'm the one that's usually fighting with everybody, so it kind of brings, it's like, oh man, these are my people, and that's what I like. But that's what I'm telling you, like I don't know, because whenever you're in a situation, it's important to you. If somebody tells you something, it's like, hey man, like what the fuck, and then you settle it. But also one of the things that I've learned from most of the comics, it's like, hey man, like don't take it too serious. Like don't take yourself too serious. Like we're all out here we're trying different things, and I'm telling you, like I don't know if in every family, but my family, it's we say things and then we say the wrong thing. And it's like fuck,
right.
I'm sorry.
You should have said that.
You should have said that, and then what I'm learning now is to apologize. It's like, hey man. Like, just learn to apologize, and it sucks.
Right.
And I mean, for me, I've had a lot of opportunities to apologize. so I'm getting good at like, fuck, like. But there's a point where you have to learn. Right. Like, all right, man, just fucking shut the fuck up. And I'm telling you, like, the fact that I'm going back on stage, one of the things that I've been learning recently, it's like, hey man, how about learn to shut the fuck up, which is the irony of doing comedy.
Right.
Because,
you're supposed to talk.
You're supposed to talk, yeah. Right. So that's kind of what I'm learning. So now if I'm going to be doing comedy more again, it's like, I really thought about what I'm doing. Back then, maybe not too much. But now it's one of those things. And it's supposed to be better, I guess. But no, I don't know what happened with you with Ozzy. Because he was, I'm telling you, like, I don't owe anybody anything, and all I have to do, I'll probably have him here and be like, yeah, let's talk shit about Marko. But it's one of those things where everybody, I kind of see where we're kind of starting there, and like you said, like you're always gonna have a different point of view.